Edge and private wireless are paying off fast. Nokia reports 87% of industrial firms see ROI within a year, and the market could hit $8 billion by 2027. To explain what's driving this, we are joined by Christian Steenstrup from Gartner and Duncan Edie from Accenture. Welcome, Christian and Duncan. Let's start with this. What factors drive such fast ROI from Edge and private wireless?
So one of the factors driving a fast ROI is that there is already a pent-up availability of information. Think of it like a reservoir of machine data, but we never really had a good tap to turn it on. So the data in industrial equipment was always there, but because there was excessive volume and information that was inaccessible, it was like looking in a needle of haystacks of ones and zeros. Now, what's happened in the trigger points of Edge and private wireless is that that's becoming much more accessible. And the number one use case that has a positive ROI is aiding equipment availability, machine reliability. So what we're seeing roll out quite quickly, because we already had the pent-up availability of information and data, is using edge processing to create better data density, meaning we strip away the irrelevant data, we focus on the valuable data at the edge, and then improved communications to reduce the latency. So we're able to get that information to the decision points much more quickly. So think of it like a data to decision cycle, a little bit like the order to cash cycle that people talk about in business, except we're now exploiting a data to decision cycle. So shorter time frame, better access to the information. But what's really accelerating this ROI is the data was there, and we're now creating a pathway for that data to get into a decision framework.
It really is the telco's customers' desire to embrace scaled AI and reinvent their businesses using generative artificial intelligence, traditional AI, ML, and agentic, which is driving the opportunity in the telco space. Historically, over the last few years, the telcos have struggled with monetizing their services. And now the edge and private wireless technologies that are going to be required to drive the AI economy are bringing a whole bunch more usage for compute, for connectivity, for intelligence, for data that all needs to be connected and giving the telcos an opportunity to provide increased bandwidth, but also to use that connectivity to deliver business outcomes. And I think the importance of the business outcomes for their customers, it's what's giving our telco clients the opportunity to deliver that return on investment that you're seeing in the study that you quoted.
Just for better understanding on that, how exactly does AI-enabled predictive maintenance deliver these benefits?
If we think about a predictive maintenance decision process, think of it like a decision engine. Engines need fuel to operate. The better the refined fuel, the higher the performance engine. So if we think of predictive maintenance as a very high performance engine in decision making, we get better refined information, the oil metaphor, and that's going to enable us to drive better predictive maintenance. Now, what that executes for you in actual practical life in an industrial company is extended life of capital equipment. It lasts longer. We can avoid unplanned downtime where the equipment fails. So we're improving the mean time between failure, the unplanned downtime of equipment, and therefore avoiding the cost of lost production, as well as damage to industrial equipment. And we're also able to plan that downtime. So using predictive maintenance, it's not that we know something is going to happen. We know when it is going to happen, and therefore we can prepare for it and plan for it. And a lot of industrial repair cycles, it's not like taking your car to the garage and getting the oil changed or a tire replaced. This could be quite extensive work needing specialized equipment, specialized parts, specialized skills. So the forward planning of this very much helps reduce the downtime.
Certainly, when edge and private wireless networks connect directly to intelligent systems, then telcos are gaining real-time visibility into their network, their equipment, the performance, and can transform how maintenance is managed. And so you get a significant improvement in quality of service, in productivity. And the way this is achieved is that you've got AI models that are analyzing live sensor data and historical performance patterns to predict failures before they happen, which is allowing for targeted, proactive, often even automated interventions, which minimize or eliminate downtime. They're optimizing field force deployment. They're extending equipment life. In essence, your data is becoming an early warning system rather than just a record of what went wrong.
Now, aside from that, is there anything else that we should take note of? What challenges still slow wider deployment in the region?
Well, there are still challenges to enabling both the edge processing and the predictive maintenance capabilities. Primary among them is that in the industrial world, we've got a wide diversity of assets and equipment in any company. It's very rarely one type of equipment or one vendor's product. So you've got old equipment that could be 20, 30, 40 years old. You've got old infrastructure, diverse assets, maybe remote locations in oil and gas and utilities. So the challenges are a practical logistic one around access to those systems, putting in telemetry and automation and data capture in some of those old pieces of equipment. There's also the maturity of organizations is still a challenge to get wider deployment. A lot of organizations are still looking at break repair type cycles or very basic preventative maintenance, and they need to grow and mature into a capability of predictive maintenance. It's sort of like, if you think of predictive maintenance as an instrument in a musical orchestra, it's a very difficult instrument to play, but it's a very valuable one to have in your orchestra. But a lot of companies need to get there through a program of learning and maturing in other tools and then get to this point of predictive maintenance.
The most important is legacy architectures and technical debt, or what we call data debt. Many organizations are still constrained by legacy network architectures and also legacy IT systems. That means fragmented data, siloed IT, OT is separate, network systems are separate, they're not highly integrated and seamless. And this is resulting in what I refer to as data debt. The buildup of inconsistent, low quality data that's not integrated really limits AI deployment and the richness of the benefits that AI can bring in the network space. And in fact, Accenture's research shows that 72% of global telco executives are citing data consistency and quality as the top barrier to scaling AI. There are a number of other important challenges that need to be overcome. We talked a bit about integration, and that's also partly driven by the ecosystem maturity and the need to integrate across operational and enterprise systems. There's definitely a talent shortage and a lot of competition for AI skilled talent. In some of our regions in APAC, the regulatory framework is fragmented, but ultimately mastering that data debt is really the key challenge that needs to be overcome. And this applies across strategy, architecture, quality, products, integration. It really needs to be a holistic enterprise reinvention that our telcos need to go through.
Thank you so much for your time today, Christian and Duncan. Looking forward to having you both back on the program.
My pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Once again, those were Christian Steenstrup, Distinguished VP Analyst and Gardner Fellow, and Duncan Eady, Managing Director, Cloud First and Infrastructure Engineering at Accenture. For more news, visit asiantelecom.com.